They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I got all this potential that's deep inside of me, but they hate when you're successful cause they try to be. They sit there being judgmental because you're trying things, and they just want you to settle and do the right thing. So get a good job, don't slack off. Wake up every morning, make a good impression on your boss. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do, and when you're making money, make sure you don't spend it too soon. Fuck that, I'll do what I wanna do. I got a different path from everyone, and that includes you. Who are you to tell me how to live life? In these times it feels like nobody's right, yeah. So I'ma figure out what else we succeed, and then invest all of my time into that and proceed. I need whatever the hell could make me happy, and I don't think you have a clue what could that be. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I think this life could be special if I get rid of the devils. They think that I am a rebel, I think they want me to settle. There's nobody on my level, they think that work is too stressful. I think that work is essential, the grind is all in your mental. And I don't think you understand what I'll go through just to be in control of my life soon. All the negativity, man, I'm immune. I don't really need a mask with all I've been through. I've been making changes for the ages. 5-10 year plans are contagious. I attack that shit, I'm tenacious. And if you ain't, get the fuck out of my way then. Got one life, I won't regret it. I will fight until I get it. I'll look back one day from heaven and say, damn, I learned some lessons. And say, damn, I had no questions. I had fun in every second, and the journey was a blessing, yeah. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that can make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. They tell me that I'm never gonna make it. They want me to do something that could make sense. They hate when I keep dreaming I'll be famous, but I don't give a fuck, I'ma keep chasing. I got all this potential that's deep inside of me, but they hate when you're successful cause they try to be. They sit there being judgmental because you're trying things, and they just want you to settle and do the right thing. So get a good job, don't slack off. Wake up every morning, make a good impression on your boss. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do, and when you're making money, make sure you don't spend it too soon. Fuck that, I'll do what I wanna do. I got a different path from everyone, and that includes you. Who are you to tell me how to live life? In these times it feels like nobody's right, yeah. So I'ma figure out what else we succeed.
Wake up, brother, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Life ain't easy, yo. I think there's a reason, though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation.
Y'all, it is Wednesday and already it is kicking my ass. I am so sorry about being late and having tech difficulties. Apparently, I've been going through it. Y'all can see I'm sweating because I was trying to get dressed, trying to set up a headset. Shiro had me put my wire someplace else for these headphones, and when I put them in, Stugotz. All right, I'm gonna have to start a GoFundMe for a good set of headphones. It will actually connect to a regular size 3.5mm jack. That's neither here nor there. Okay, guys. All right. I am the double whose door is always open. Gandalf, not the gray or the white, because I'm all black. Joy LaForce, captaining this very late enterprise. All right. So I'm 12 minutes behind schedule. But I am Left Eye E.G.O, ladies and gentlemen. And I am bringing in the Immortal Rising.
What up? Thank you, everybody.
You gotta have your own air horn sound for
I like
being
it.
so patient with me, dude.
I need that everywhere I go. I like it.
Bro, all right, appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
How are you doing this evening?
good. It's really hot and humid, but I'm good. I'm glad.
Yeah, that reminds me to turn my fan on. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have a heat stroke during a live stream. Who knows? It's the way I get monetized is having a
Oh,
medical
dude.
emergency.
It's like a steam cloud. I live in like the border of Iowa, Illinois, on the Mississippi.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah. Oh man, whew, it gets nice and humid, and it's just starting. So,
dude, I lived in the southern part of Illinois for like 8 years. And it's weird to tell someone that in Illinois it can be like 110 in June. Like, no, that's Texas, that's Arizona. Like, no. 110 in Illinois. It makes no difference.
I didn't know this, but I was told that a lot of that is the humidity from all of the mass farming. So, like, it didn't used to be this bad before all the industrial mass farming. I didn't know that.
Did
I don't
not
know
know that.
But that's what I've heard.
I mean, it'd be the only explanation. A place that gets minus 50 can go 110. Like, you have to be able to explain that kind of temperature spread.
Like, how do you get that much humidity?
Right. We need answers, y'all. But anyway, before we jump into the reason why we're bringing you on this evening, let's go ahead and address the chat, see who we got. White Bear, hurry the hell up. You're late, bro. You were absolutely right, man. No excuse. That's why I took the next 2 minutes to make myself a drink because I knew I was going to need it.
What was that? Was that a White Russian?
Bro, no. So my wife got these little wine cooler cups you can actually stick in the freezer. So I was like, I threw in some. Hold on. Terramana tequila, the reposado.
Nice.
And some mango juice. So yeah, I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and celebrate this midweek right now.
I like it. A connoisseur.
Right. Yes, sir. All right, we got Nosferatu. Hey, Whitey and E.G.O. What's going on? Abomination AJ, thank you, good sir, for jumping in AJ? As well. This week,
I love you guys' show.
Thank you, man. Thank you. We try to keep it entertaining for y'all. I knew the minute I started playing that background music, you were gonna say something. I knew you were gonna do that, dude. Mike Hasbrat needs late, and that seems to be on par. That's fair. Yeah. Y'all need to give me a plus or minus 5 minute buffers.
Don't say the G word. We'll get banned.
I'm gonna try not to. Oh my god. I'm gonna I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm never gonna put up that highlight. I got you. All right, so got everything set up and play that. All right, so we got you in to basically talk about your Indiegogo comic that you've got on. But let's start from the very, very beginning, sir. How did you
Ooh.
even come? I know it's the comic that you're naming Immortal Rising, but how did you even come up with that name, or how did you use it as your screen name? What was the process behind that?
Oh, dude. So it was a very in-depth, like I studied linguistics and
Oh
no, I'm just
wow.
kidding. Actually what I did was I sat here in front of my computer and I said to myself, I said, self, or God, if you want to say, I said, what is it that I should name this? And like what is it that he wants to be named? And I asked that a few times, and Immortal Rising came out. It was like pretty much the only answer. I'm not saying it's like super special, but at the same time, it's like it's clearly the answer that I was
It
asking.
works.
So yeah, so I
Yeah.
wrote it down and I went with it, and it took me a second. I really had to think about it. I was like, well, what does that mean? Why Immortal Rising? Like it's got to have some kind of meaning to it, right? And so I don't know. I think that it kind of like it has multiple meanings. Like it's a play on leveling up for tabletop. If you've ever played tabletop games, it's
I
kind of
know
like,
people
or
that
even
do.
just like video games, right? So like
Yeah.
you start off your first level, you get to the end of the game, you're
Oh.
basically a god, right, or a mortal, or whatnot. So
Yeah.
a little bit of that. Also, it kind of like it refers to so I have a couple of stories. I have two stories. I've
Go
got
ahead. Go ahead.
one story. It's about five I guess first levels, all like kind of put together in a group unexpectedly. Like they don't know each other. They're five strangers, right? They're all thrust together and they're
Yeah.
put in these crazy survival situations. And then I also have a second story that is about this war of the gods that's going on. The whole reason that these five strangers were thrust together. And I kind of get like a Clash of the Titans view of the whole battle in a way. And anyways, so it kind of refers to the evil guy in the story, the evil big bad, that started the war of the gods, that our first levels don't know much about. But so yeah, it has a few things, and then I guess last it kind of leaves the reader like to wonder if someone in the book is going to become an immortal. It's like, wait a minute, is the
Oh.
main guy going to be immortal? Is that guy over there? So I can't tell you, but yes, Immortal Rising. I don't know, and it flows. It rolls off
It
the
does.
tongue well.
Yeah, it's like one thing you would think that you saw like so named it. You're like, no, so no one else like that actually sounds pretty cool. I think that's kind of the mark for something is like it sounds like someone else should would have named
Yeah.
it before you. You're like, oh my god, I really got something. You're like, I need to run
Well, I'll
with it
tell you,
now.
I try to work on rhetoric. Like that's a real
Yeah,
thing. And yeah, I don't know. This one I did not. I don't take credit for this. This came out of the ether, whatever you want to call it. And
yeah,
it was great. I was like, let's do it, and it works well.
yeah, definitely good, sir. I appreciate the name. It's definitely works. So I guess that we could ask, now that we've got the name, what were some of your? I know you said tabletop was one of them, but what other influence did you have when it came to at least get the thought process and writing out your Immortal Rising game?
Well, I would say, early on, like in my early teenage years, is when I got introduced to the tabletop genre. But as far, or I guess the tabletop market, or whatever you want to call it. But as far as fantasy, I grew up watching fantasy movies. My dad was a huge movie buff, as a boomer, so he loved them some movies, right? We know they had an addiction, some of them. But I'll say this. So in fantasy just always spoke to me. And then growing up, I was about 10, 11, something like that. I got introduced to Dungeons and Dragons and
Oh
all
no,
of their
okay.
books. Yeah, yeah. And so by my brother, I blame him for all of this. And anyways, one of the things that just grabs you is the art. Like fantasy art is
Yeah,
there's no equal to it. It's amazing. So and it's super fun. Like I don't know, some of the classic artists back in the 80s and 90s, still stay with me. I'd love to see Clyde Caldwell and all that stuff. But I will say the reason that I did the whole comic book instead of say like a fantasy Dragonlance novel, is because of that fantasy art. Like I was like, well, should I write a novel, that like nobody is ever going to read, or should I do a comic book where like the art will attract the people, right? And so I found a great artist, Jose Garcia. He's amazing, and I guess I don't know. I guess like his style and the style of the story and the brand and all that stuff really fit well. So we're running with it.
Nice, man. Nice. I appreciate it. I am not gonna lie to you. I am like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. I was like, how can you read this? There is no pictures. So I appreciate you helping me out. I deal with writing graphs and writing notes all day. I need a visual. I need some help. Like draw me the picture. That works for me. I was like, okay, I am transported to this place. I am shown the pictures. The pictures move as I turn the page. I'm all right. I'm great with that. Yes, Abomination AJ2.
Right now, the market is so dry for the kind of fantasy this is. This is like dark fantasy of Castlevania meets epic fantasy of Final Fantasy. There's nothing else out there like this. Like some of them are kind of doing like the barbarian thing and sword and sorcery and all that. So there's some really amazing fantasy artists right now, but nobody's doing my approach. And if you like that anime style, it's high concept. The way I wrote it was kind of like what would a Dragonlance novel look like as a comic book? So the narrator itself is its own character, right? Because it has to explain some things, but I try not to be too wordy. At least on the first, we love our words and all that stuff, but they have to have, a lot of your audience is probably writers. You have to have a purpose for your words. So I don't inundate everything with the words. I try to keep the story going along. But I wanted it to feel like a fantasy novel. So only in comic book form.
All right, I appreciate it. I like that approach to it. If there is a market to exploit, it sounds like it'll be this one. Anime style meets that. I guess with that phantasmic art and just going along with it. I really dig it. I mean, that's actually going to take us to the actual book of question, Immortal Rising. Guys, hopefully I'm gonna make sure I have the sound on for this one. Hold on. Because I made enough mistakes already with you guys today. So all right. So I got that on tab on here. So let's go ahead and play us a preview for Immortal Rising here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
First of all, the music was hype as hell. I'm not gonna lie. You're like, hey, check this out. I'm like, all right, what is this? And I was like, this is metal as fuck. Okay. You had my interest, but now you have my attention. Keep playing.
There we go.
Yeah, that was really awesome. I really like the way that whole thing would flow with the visuals that you put in there. Nice. Is that an original song, or is that something that you composed, or paid for commission, or what?
Yeah. So what that is that's like the third version of my commercial, right? Originally, I did a song.
Damn, bro, you got like 2 remixes to your original.
Yeah. Well, so all right, so I did one by a band from the '80s that I really like. That was like they did a cover of Bad Moon Rising, and so I did that, and it was great, it was perfect. But the problem is all that stuff's copyright, right? So I'm like, I can only use that on my channel. So I tend to use that one on my opening, and then so like I came up with another one from a with music from a site. I can't remember the name of the site right now, but it was royalty free. But royalty free doesn't mean royalty and copyright free. So royalty free means that somebody else can get it and then copyright it. So I didn't know that. And apparently after I had chosen that second song, somebody had copyrighted. So I was like, dang it. So then I cruised YouTube until I found copyright free and royalty free music that kind of fit the feel. So
Okay, I mean, it definitely works here, man. I actually like that. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, "Yo, who is the thick blue chick on the throne?" I don't know what the throne is, but I am also intrigued by her. All right, don't know if she's good or bad, but I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
So as far as we're looking on Indiegogo as of today, the original goal, flex goal, was 3,000. You're now at 4,140 with a total of 97 backers, guys. 2 days left on the Indiegogo campaign, and I actually purchased one as well last week or the week before.
Nice.
So, yeah. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I am, my job is a vacation from poverty, so I appreciate you having digital, basic, and bundles because my mind is telling me no, but my wallet's saying don't you do that. So
yeah, right. So one of the things that I approached the pricing on was just affordability. I want as many people to get this as possible. So just the basic perk is $20 physical, and then the shipping and all this is really affordable. It's not crazy. So like for any international people out there, I have my fulfillment guy, Critical Blast. He actually has shipping discounts, and so if you check out the shipping on the site as you go through it, it is not a joke for my international shippers. It's like $10. So please indulge. But on top of that, I also have the digitals. I have a digital version of the comic as well as because I think that's $5, and then I also have a $5 sketch version. So that sketch version is Jose Garcia's work. It's the storyboard, but it's not finished. So if you want to kind of like see how he does his work, or if you want to maybe finish a page that he did or something like that, all of that's available. Awesome. $5 digitals.
Not bad at all. Okay. All right, man. You're getting into it. I like it. So I guess, with you having it out, and it's definitely hit over your goal of the $3,000 on there. What was your, if we can take us back, what was your process for creating the comic, and how long did it go from just a concept in your head to the campaign that we see now before us?
Let me just say,
take us through the whole thing, man. Actually, hold on one second. I want to double check something.
Process, yeah.
Hold on one second, because I got Abomination AG said he got that. That deserves an air horn here.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. Take us through the entire process.
I mean, the anime look is amazing. Jose Garcia has a very unique style, and that man is only going to improve, and he's only going to get bigger. So if you even halfway like what he's doing now, it's only going to get better. That's the best way I can say. But all right. So how did this all start? Right. I would say that all of this. Oh,
sorry. Everyone that's buying, I'm going to air horn everyone that's bought one, man. So if you keep hearing it, you got backers, man.
Thank you very much. All right. So basically where this came from was, I was talking about when I was like 10 or whatever, getting into fantasy. Well, I started a tabletop game, a Dungeons and Dragons game. And that was probably 30 years ago, right? And that same world and story and all of it, all that timeline, I still play today. I still have like four or five other guys that show up and we game and whatever. We've been doing it every week until recently. One of the regulars decided to get a better job in Hawaii and moved. So
the bastard.
Yeah, and then another guy does a lot of like wedding stuff. So June's really busy. So we're
Wedding
like,
season. Yeah.
it's a real awkward situation. Anyway, but this story here is about, it took place about 15 years ago. And so as I was writing down all of this, this huge timeline, because I'm terrible with notes, right? I'm writing down all this stuff. I'm asking all these people that have played, that maybe even don't anymore. And it just like I've started copying everything down and trying to keep track of everything.
Okay.
And it was kind of like as I was writing down an event, that event slowly turned into like a scene, right? Because I've done a lot of writing in different ways, essays, poems, songs, short
Okay.
stories, that kind of stuff. But I hadn't really written a comic. And so I started copying all the stuff down. And as these scenes grew, I know all these characters.
Right.
I saw them go from first level to whatever they became, and it just started flowing out of me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do something with this. And it was like, well, should I make a novel that probably no one will read, or a comic book with pretty pictures? And I was like, the whole fantasy art argument won me. I was like, let's do a comic book. And that's kind of where we are. So just all you super nerds out there, there is plenty of exposition, setting, back lore, all that stuff. I know what happened before. I know what will happen in the future. So there isn't going to be any like curveballs or why did he jump the shark or whatever like that. So and not only that, I do want to say I know this is just issue 1, but it's a bit of a long story that we don't have to get into, but I had an original artist do the book for me. So I actually have 2 versions of issue 1. Then I met Jose. Jose did the secondary story of the gods, the Clash of the Titans kind of story. He did that for me, and we worked out. So we jived so well. It was like, well, hey, will you do issue 2? So he did issue 2 for me. I have that one. It's mostly done, maybe some retouches or whatever. So issue 2 is finished. The whole point of this campaign, anything over top of cost is going straight to issue 3. So I wrote the story in a 3-issue arc, and I'm going to do 3 issues. So that's exactly what we are dedicated to do. So
I appreciate that, man. You've got, you started with kind of the end in mind. Sometimes it's hard to see when someone's saying, I have this issue coming out. And you're like, well, is it a one shot? I'm not sure. Well, hey, it is a one shot. Okay, fantastic. Or I'm going to keep making them until it seems like the wheels fall, and then I'm trying to wrap everything up and clear out any inconsistencies. You're like, well, hey, it's going to be 3 issues. So by the 3rd issue, this has to be wrapped up.
Yes.
So, I mean, I know that, with creators, sometimes there's always the intrusive thoughts that say, well, hey, no one's going to read it. What makes someone going to be interested in what I've got to put out? Did you ever have any of those thoughts? I mean, even when I know you had intrusive thoughts about going from making it a book and then going to a comic, but was there any part of you that was saying there's no point in this? And like, if it was, like, how did you overcome that?
It's a great question. So as it started, it was just going to be for like the first version, the secret first version. That one was going to just be for like my tabletop guys, the people who were a part of it, who have been on the table, come and gone kind of stuff. I was just going to kind of do that and friends and family and whatnot. But it was only after I got into making it that I realized how much it was a passion project. I was like, oh no. Because I was at this point where I was looking into doing a side business on Amazon, like selling products on Amazon kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I got super into it. I'm like, okay. And like came down to, all right, I'm going to throw money at, sourcing product. And when it came to that, there's, that motto of you can, it's easier to sell what you're passionate about. Like do what you're passionate about. And I'm like, I'm not passionate about, selling Chinese sourced neck pillows on Amazon, right? I was like, I don't have that passion. So then I was like, I've done this for however many years, decades, right? I'm like, I need to turn this, my actual thing that I do in my spare time, my hobby, I need to turn that into, an IP. I need to turn that into a brand and see what I can do with it, because I would rather do that than spend all this creative, energy into a product that I don't really care about, that is just going to be throwaway, capitalist kind of stuff anyways. So I was like, let me make this boutique product that people will appreciate, like I don't care if it's 1,000 nerds over time. At least 1,000 nerds will like it.
Fair point. All right, man. Hey, I appreciate that. Like I said, it's hard kind to push through sometimes, and you're like, hey, push through and be willing to sell what you're actually passionate about. Even when I was in Philly for school, I met a doctor who was retired, late 60s, early 70s, and he's always talking about investing in this and investing in that. And he's like, I said, well, what would you invest in? The first thing he said was invest in what you use or what you like. Yep. So, with that, why don't we invest the time and the energy we have into something that we actually want to put out?
Yeah. And then on top of that, we have this like assault from corporate media, coming at us of all this, garbage. Like this is terrible pop culture. Can we just stop saying that it's even worth anything? Because it's not, like everything that I see that's worth anything is coming out of the indie scene anyways. So
that's fair.
I'm like, let me just make my own stories, because one, I don't have a woke agenda, right? Like I'm not trying to blackface Aragorn for no reason. No, I'm just
that's some weird shit. I don't follow Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, I know Aragorn's not black. I was like, which Aragorn is? This is D Aragorn. That's not Aragorn. So I was like, y'all lying to me. Go ahead.
Oh, that's all right. But like for like being nervous and all that stuff, I don't know. I'm kind of like a jump in and find out kind of guy. I tend to fail forward. Like, I don't know, and that's kind of like what's built me up to where I am now, is that, is my past mistakes. And like I said, I had a whole first version of this. I even printed it out and I'm selling it on the campaign already. So it's super secret. I only printed out so many copies and I'll never do it again.
Nice.
Only because of the value, so yeah, let it burn. Exactly.
Exactly. Let it burn. Burn, baby, burn, baby, burn.
And I'm confident that, hey, I might not be, the golden boy writer or whatever, but, and maybe the art isn't completely your style and all that stuff, but Immortal Rising, it will be a thing that you will have heard of in the marketplace eventually. That's my goal. If I get 1,000 regulars, who will buy my stuff, then great. Whatever will keep
exactly.
Like I'm not trying to get rich. I'm not trying to cash grab or nothing like that. I just want to put it out there so other people can experience it and be like, "That's fucking cool, dude. I like that."
It's something you can mess with. I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. I'm trying to look for something for a question I'm going to ask you later, because I actually know what the source for it is now. Hold on 1 second here.
Sure.
And son of a bitch. And close this. Pause and.
Oh, that's what it is. Wait, so there's Mike. He says, "When is fulfillment?"
Yeah, that was about to say. I opened it up to some open questions from the chat. So go ahead.
Yeah, so fulfillment is it should be very soon. So as very soon, I mean, I'm waiting for it to wrap up, and then I am going to finish formatting it so that for the printer. There's like a world or a continent map that everything takes place, because if you're doing fantasy, you have to do a map, right? So I was kind of working on the map, which is mostly done. And it probably is done. I just haven't got it back yet. But anyway, so we'll do the formatting. We'll lay everything out, get it ready for the printer. It's a printer that I drive by on my way to work. Like I've used them before. Like I said, I had the first issue printed out. It'll be on 80-pound glossy, and she'll be nice. It'll be a really pretty book. And anyways, fulfillment will be as soon as all of that will come together. So I want to say I'm going on a big family trip at the end of the month, but at the latest, I mean, depending on my printer schedule, July, maybe, something like that. Because like I said, I got the printer, and then I have a fulfillment guy, Critical Blast, and it's kind of like fire and forget. It's like, okay, I got my books, and then I send it to him. I send all the info that he asked for, and then he does it all for me. So,
Cool.
you know,
All right, I'm gonna
it
get to
won't be a
the.
year. It won't be 2 years.
I was gonna say, as long as you say it's gonna be 2023, I'm fine, man.
Yeah.
But
No, it
no,
should be this summer. Yes.
you know, I mean, so I'll get to the two questions on here that I see on here, but how has it been, working with a fulfillment and a print guy? Was there anything, did you guys have to really negotiate things, or was everything pretty reasonable in terms of what you guys were looking for getting it out when it's available?
Yeah. Well, the printer, I like I said, I'd done business before with them. I really liked being able to go to them, meet the salesman physically, meet the production lady, see the all of the proofs. I could go there, I could even show everybody what the proofs look like. Like I'd love to just take my phone in there, record a video saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm doing this," and post it on Twitter.
That would be awesome, dude, especially for people that are looking to make their own and know what that process is like.
Yeah, just to
I know
see it.
sometimes we can get afraid about that, but to see what the process looks like and say, hey, look, these are things you want to look for, things you want to ask, kind of things you might not have thought about that you might want to consider. We'll take it, man.
Yeah, for sure. And being able to be there physically and to talk to these people is next level. I mean, it's not going to be, I'm waiting to hear from the printer kind of stuff. It shouldn't be a lot of that at all. Because like I said, I can just drive by and see.
And they pull right up on them. Okay,
but so
cool.
getting that awesome customer service and the high quality paper and all that stuff, it's not the cheapest. So
paying for the quality though.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, anything, and like I said, anything over cost, which is kind of high with paper and ink right now, all that's going to number 3. So
okay, all right, I like it, man. So I got White Bear White too. So Whitey Bear has this, and I think Abomination Agent kind of has something that's very similar. So White Bear is saying, what was the inspiration for this type of book in the game before? What games, books, shows inspired you to make this now? And then Abomination AJ said, I understand what got you wanting to do it, but what do you not see before that you're striving to include in your high fantasy story?
Both are great questions.
Right.
Which one should I start with?
Hey, bro, you are the guest, man. Take it in whichever way you want.
All right. What was the inspiration for this type of game? All right. So I will say the inspiration for our whole world that we've been gaming in, and that this is all inspired by, would be Castlevania. And I consider it like the dark fantasy of Castlevania meets the epic fantasy of Final Fantasy. So, and there's a lot of different, pop culture references for some of the things. Like, for instance, the bad guys in Voltron, they're kind of like the Zentradi. They're kind of like my bad guys as well, like the dark elves, the blue chick, for instance, that kind of stuff. Also, like some of their spaceships, just the fact that there are spaceships, there's crystals, there's magical technology. There's not a lot of technology in the story, but at least not now. But and just D&D. So if you've ever played tabletop games, we're talking Ravenloft, we're talking Dragonlance, Forgotten Realms, that kind of stuff. So all of that was a huge inspiration for sure.
Okay.
If you like Vampire Hunter D, that was an inspiration.
Yeah, because I saw werewolves are in there. So Abomination AJ, yes, he has werewolves in the book. Okay, there's at least a werewolf sighting. There's a mention of werewolves. Okay, so make sure you read that.
And actually, so I have the 2 stories. I've got the 34-page main story, and then the 10-page supplementary story that focuses on like the higher level guys, the gods, right? The Clash of the Titans. Well, in the third book, there is a werewolf battle. So backing the book will produce a werewolf battle.
I'm not gonna lie, that's on behalf of AJ, because I asked him right now. He might be on his phone, but he is like, oh my goodness, I have to read this. I cannot wait. All right. So for White Bear, he says, I know what we'd like to get out of this to everybody possible, but who's your target audience with Immortal Rising 1?
Who is the target audience? So people who like anime, people who like high fantasy, It's going to be high concept. If you like fantasy novels, Dragonlance, Forgotten Realms, all those stuff that I was talking about before, I think that you'll like this as well. Final Fantasy, Castlevania, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I want to say that I don't dwell on all of the exposition and the names of places and all that stuff. Like that kind of bogs down some of it. Like I wanted to meet a nice balance between super nerd, I love all the small details, and the casual nerd who just wants to be immersed real quick and have a fun adventure.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I hit it. I think I did a good job. So, I mean, I think that the writing gets tighter, but at first, I've got a lot to explain. The first one uh,
Fair.
is the setup. If you think of the
Okay.
3 act structure, yeah, and that's how I wrote it was as one story. I just chopped it up into 3 acts.
3 parts. Okay. So each book, each issue is an act within your 3 arc story.
Yes. Yep.
Got it. Okay. I do have a question. Like, once everything gets filled, yeah, physical copies out. Are you going to have time, or will you be able to make time to make any local comic conventions, or go to any local comic book stores to help sell the book there, or do you have any plans for that?
Yeah, good question. So, not far from me, down the street, actually, is a local comic book shop, and he has. It surprised me. He has a whole section on his wall dedicated to a comic book reading group that him
Oh,
and
cool.
local shops and comic book people are into, and they will actually read indie books and put them on their wall as recommendations.
Wow, that's
So
awesome, man.
yeah, I'm gonna get a hold of that, and also, so cool. I work with this guy, not directly anymore, but he still works at the same factory. He knows he's friends with a one of the con organizers around here. So
What?
yeah, like this guy apparently he sets up a lot of cons in the Midwest, and I'm just gonna get in with that. Like my buddy's got pictures of him getting choked out by Sergeant Slaughter because he got to act as Sergeant Slaughter's gopher. So for a day,
That's
or a
awesome,
weekend or
dude.
whatever it was, he got to hang out with Sergeant Slaughter and go get him drinks or whatever.
That's
So
a dude. We were in Houston this weekend. I missed it. Friday night was the wrestling night, and I swear to God, I know that Mick Foley would have been there.
nice.
We got pictures with Mick Foley and Lita from the Comic Con on that Saturday. But I was like, damn, I really would have missed the wrestling that they had that Friday night. Like we
Yeah,
even missed like luchador wrestling when we were at South
that'd be
Padre
cool.
Island. Like, guys, if you don't know, if you've never got to see lucha, it's phenomenal.
Like
Okay, just
genuine
picture,
luchador. Yeah,
picture like 30 little Rey Mysterios running around, flipping everywhere. Okay,
yeah.
and everyone's just yelling lucha the entire time. It's awesome. I told my wife, I was like, hey, I like to cosplay that I'm from where you're from, but still say I'm American, right? However, if you told me there's an underground luchador tournament happening, I swear to God, I'll break whatever national, international rules are available to see it because I'm really about
Dude,
that.
I've seen Bloodsport. I want to go see that
I
live.
mean, you're like, yeah, you don't want to tell everyone you
Luchador.
went, but like if someone asks and it's bicycle, like, yeah, I went. Was it like it was just like it was in the movie?
Exactly what you think it's like.
So I got one of the questions I asked just in general is saying, outside of just general comic books, what's been your most expensive nerdy purchase?
Oof. Well, I would say probably PS4 was pretty damn expensive.
When it first came out, are we talking like after a release
No,
time?
I got a PS4. I got a PS4 this last Christmas because I had a PS3 and I was playing that for many years, right? So then finally I was like, well, let me get the PS4, let me upgrade because maybe it'll matter. I'm not real big into video games, so I didn't know
Okay.
that they have a PS5 and everybody wants that.
Well, I'm
Like, there's no games for it either, though. So screw it. Why?
I'm like me. I'm like, why did y'all stop after Why did y'all keep going to PS2? I'm like, that was perfect for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the fact you got a PS4, like, I mean, bro,
Mhm.
you're rolling in dough to an extent to get the PS4, man.
So between buying the PS4 and I treated myself to Final Fantasy 14, the
Okay.
MMO. So me and my son were playing Final Fantasy 14 over the winter. But I don't know. I guess like my biggest expenses would be all of my kids is everything that my kids like. You know, like my daughter likes to get into cosplay and art and all that stuff. All their damn games. My son, you know, he loves the Zelda. He's a completionist. He's like,
Word.
no, Dad, let's, you know, I'm like, let's beat Ganon or whatever. And he's like, no, we can't do that because I haven't finished all the shrines yet. And I'm like, cool.
Wow, he's a psycho.
Yeah.
Oh wow, damn.
I'm
He
like,
just he means
fine.
complete as wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, all right, son, you be your completionist self.
Wait, dude,
But yeah,
did you get them into that, or just naturally just seeing what you did, they just found their own thing that was their own?
well, Zelda, that's a good one, especially like as a parent. I really
Yeah.
don't like push a lot on my kids at all. If they're into what I'm into, awesome, but they're really not. Like they have their own stuff going on. I remember liking Star Wars before it came out as like Disney sequel Star Wars, and
Okay.
you know, like it's kind of embarrassing, you know, like my kids are like, "Oh, Dad really likes the Star Wars stuff." And then like the sequel trilogy happened. I'm like, oh,
Hard to
you know,
explain. Hard to
yeah.
explain.
It's like, how do I explain my fandom when like this exists? You know. So
Yeah.
and just over time, it dropped. Like Mandalorian 1 and 2 was really good. Kids like that. But most of the stuff that that like the nerdy stuff that I watch that's appropriate for kids is usually based on what they like, anyways. So
Okay.
I'll expose them to stuff like, for instance, we've watched G.I. Joe,
Oh.
Transformers, He-Man, all the stuff that I kind of grew up with.
So
Fantasy.
what do they say when they see things from like early, mid, or late 80s, or even early 90s? What's it like through like the lens of a child? What do they tell you, or what do they say?
Um, I would say that like they kind of, you know, they understand that some of the animation style and stuff is older. You know, that's some
Okay.
of the critiques, but really they mostly just talk about whether or not it's fun and whether or not the story's good. Like it's just got to be fun and entertaining, and they're pretty cool with
What's the verdict for them? Like, what do they say?
it. In
Whether
what
like whether it's fun, like whether or not it's fun or it makes sense to them.
Well, like for instance, like my kids are kind of aware. They understand that there's a lot of fuckery going on in pop culture. Not obviously they don't have an idea of what that really means, but they know that something's kind of weird because a lot of the mainstream stuff that is pushed, they're not into at all. You know, they're like they don't really understand that whole pop culture push
I'm gonna
thing.
ask. I'll ask you about that too. But go on with the answer you got
Well,
now.
like, you know, the way it is now, everything's so decentralized. They just kind of like find the things that they're into, and then they,
Okay.
you know, then they go for that. Any of the things that I'm like, hey, let's check this out. You know, it's got to be whether or not they're cool with it. Like, for instance, I didn't care to go see Avatar 2, the blue alien one, but my kids wanted to go see it. I was like, okay, let's go see it.
Sure.
They had a good time, but I never would have gone and seen it, you know, and we didn't see what is it, the last Ant-Man, you know, like a lot of the Marvel shit, they're not into it.
Yeah. Really?
Yep.
And your kids would be technically be within the target demographic for those
Yeah.
movies,
Well,
right?
my son's gonna
Wow.
be 8 and my daughter's 12. So yeah, like they should be
Wow.
into one of those things, right?
Wow. No, that's. I mean, I asked it. I know some of my friends have kids, and so I would wonder, if they would number one be interested in something that you would show them from when you were their age or around that age,
Yeah.
and compare that to what they're seeing now. I think would they even be interested? I know that for me, when I was living in Philly, me and my buddies went with him and his two kids. We went to go see like Transformers
Yeah.
in the movie theater, like fully well knowing that it's been over 35 to 40 years since the release of it.
Oh
Right? No, no,
yeah.
we don't care. We're gonna go see it, and then after that, there's gonna be a semi documentary on the artist that made the song "You've Got the Touch."
Nice.
Because yeah,
10
because
bucks.
he was yeah, because he was like, "Yo, I made this song for Cobra." But they were like, "Nah, we think it'll work for Transformers." I
Yeah.
swear to God, it's one of the songs in my inspirational mix on YouTube. It's a great song. So,
Yeah.
you
That
know,
whole album is really good.
yeah, as like I think that's the one thing that we kind of lament about the 80s. The 80s was a very inspirational time, and it stopped maybe around 93 or 94.
Yeah.
Whenever after Rocky 4 came out. That was like the last soundtrack that was the "You Can Do It" age of music. So I
I don't
mean,
know.
yeah,
So
his
my
kids
dad
loved
was a
it. Go ahead.
huge Rocky soundtrack listener. Okay, it's funny you brought
Jeez,
that up.
he's got all the
And
Survivor, I bet, man.
well, just the soundtracks, especially not necessarily the bands, but I remember
Mhm.
having the soundtrack to Rocky 5 on tape, on cassette tape, and listening to it and loving it when I was like 10. Yes, that's a real thing.
I mean, your dad's really was a real cinephile. Then, all right. No, I mean, so it's just
Oh,
trying
he
to
loved
figure
them
that
some
out.
Stallone. Yeah. What's that?
I mean, I can understand that. I mean, I think Rocky 5 was as far as I could get with it because it's the most
Right.
believable to me at that point. But
Yeah.
they all technically made sense. I'll have to go back and maybe watch them at some point. But
Yeah.
I mean, with your kids, I guess you can always kind of instruct your kids on what you would want them to do or how you want them to think in a certain way. But you said that the kids know that there's some fuckery afoot. Like, what did they bring to you that you're like, okay, my kids are seeing things that are a little bit different? Like, did you see
Hmm.
it or did they say it?
No, so we homeschool our kids. Me and my wife homeschool, and so they're
All
not
right.
like out there, in public school with kids that we don't have a say whether or not they should be around. We
Okay.
can't like say what they're being influenced by, and so like they don't. I don't know. Like the internet is a danger, of course, for influence, but
Yeah.
and like online friends that we can't meet, that kind of stuff, but thankfully like they're pretty like my daughter she's like she doesn't I don't know she's very I don't want to say prudish, but like she's just like not into what a lot of the like the kids, the girls who are into makeup and trying to date boys and all, just like being hoes and shit, like that's
She's
really.
grounded.
Yeah,
She's
right,
grounded
right,
for
right,
her
right.
age.
Like and so I'm not too worried about that. Like she knows, like for instance, we had somebody like it was a kid who my wife used to do daycare kind of stuff, and they were friends when she did daycare, and then he went off to public school or whatever, and every now and again they'll hang out and play and stuff, and he was just kind of saying some inappropriate stuff like a 12-year-old boy might. And she was just like, I don't want none of what you're talking
Mm,
about. You need to take that somewhere else, kind of thing. And I'm like,
dial
fuck
that
yeah,
back.
dude. Like you have to be there and instruct them on things like morality and virtue because they don't get that in school.
Dude, were you homeschooled or just that's mainly the kids?
Well, actually, I dropped out of school in ninth
Okay.
grade. And I was just like, no, this isn't for me. And
Really?
yeah, and with my kids, I was like, there's no way they're going to public school. So
Dude, I need to do a stream for homeschoolers. I was homeschooled too until I was like 14. So
nice.
all the stuff that makes sense, all the stuff you're saying, like, yeah, I understand. My mom had her own like daycare slash school when I was a kid, and then we moved to Texas. She was like, nah, screw it. I'm just gonna keep teaching you guys. So like I was homeschooled the longest from like technically like 4 to like 14.
Yeah.
Like you technically start behind socially a little bit, but you're kind of steadfast in what you do understand. So yeah, I'm gonna have to just send out an open message and say, look, dude, if you're ever homeschooled in any capacity, reach out to me. We need to do a homeschooler stream.
Well, that's pretty fortuitous that you said that. I'm actually putting together a stream with some people in the Iron Age who homeschool as well.
Bro, throw that
People.
back out. I'm in.
Actually, I'll put you on that list. I have about like 4 or 5 other dudes who are like Royce from A Drink with Crazy,
Okay.
Johnny Douglas. They
Yes,
homeschool.
definitely him. Yeah.
So like guys like that, yeah. I'm trying to figure it out, but it will happen.
No, I'm in.
Because
Like
it's
me and
such a
my
great option. Like this is the time,
it.
and this crowd that we talk to, these people are, they are entrepreneurial type, like they're independent folks, and yeah, they understand or can understand the benefits of homeschool. They're not just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, what about socialization? Well, first of all, that's a complete straw man because my children get more socialization being around me and my wife, as well as like co-op groups,
Yep.
as well as soccer teams as well as, just meet up with friends. They go to the jump park, with the trampolines and stuff. So they go skating often. They've got a clique of friends there. So all of that stuff is complete straw man nonsense.
Yeah,
especially today. Like maybe when we were younger, homeschool was different, but today, like there's just the internet. Like,
it's different. Yeah, it's weird because like you don't want to say children are like dogs, but it's the closest allegory you can kind of put. It's like, well, hey, if you have a dog, it's a puppy, and you can actually train it, understand what you're supposed to do versus what you're not supposed to do.
Yeah,
be good around other people. You can send out a perfectly obedient dog to other dogs that have been socialized. You'll be fine. I'm not saying kids are dogs, but
they talk about. I'm okay with that. No, but
right,
they talk about socialization, but it's like they learn how to be a person based on the adults around them, right? Their parents traditionally would be the people that they model themselves off of, not like just some random kid. You don't know their home life or what they're going through. Meanwhile, you and your kid and their kid are friends, but they're a horrible influence, and you don't know it. And every day they go to school, they're influenced by it happens. You can't tell me it doesn't. And in this case, it's not really like control or helicoptering, but it is like just making sure that they understand, how people interact in a positive, moral and virtuous way. That's stuff that they don't teach. That's the kind of socialization they don't teach in school.
Fair. That's fair. I got you. No, I appreciate it. And again, dude, I look forward to being on the homeschoolers string, whoever is on mine or yours, doesn't matter. I'm in for it.
Yes.
So if we go back to just the comics and everything, let's say we flash forward and there is a platform called Lore, Loor, and I think it's kind of like an independent type of. I'll put actually in the chat on here, but I believe it's a independent and a I don't want to say non-woke is the word I'm not looking for, but I do know that it's kind of like an open platform. I'll put on here. So Lore TV, let's say Lore TV. Okay, we don't have any. I put on here what Lore TV. Hold on one second. Streaming there. All right, because I know that Gothix is doing her documentary through Lore, and they don't really have any restrictions on free speech. So let's say you've got a contract with Lore. They're going to provide you all the money you need to make Immortal Rising a feature motion picture. Your main character gets to be cast. Who would you choose as who would you cast as your main character in Immortal Rising? And I guess you have a companion book too, right? What was the other name?
I do. Oh, all right. So I have the main story and the secondary story, which are in one book. But you have, there is Immortal Rising, The Calling, and then also Knights of Locutus.
So for each one of those, you get to pick like one. I guess your leading role. Who do you cast, or who do you say, hey, like I want this actor to play these roles in my books? Like if you get to do one for each, who are you choosing?
Okay, so I have been thinking about this, and it's great because I have reference for this. So let me share my screen if you don't mind.
Go right ahead, sir.
There it is. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
All right, so this is actually the character design. And it is also a one of the cards that's a part of the campaign. That there's like a set. There's 2 sets of 4 cards, so it's 8 cards total. And this is a part of the character design set. Anyway, so this is the main character, the one that we see the story through. And this was the original design for him. I don't know. I'm not sure who this actor is, but I know he used it as a reference. And I was like, is that Brad Pitt? And he says, no, it's not Brad. I was like, okay, don't tell me. Then don't tell me. If I got it wrong, don't tell me. Let it be a mystery. So for this dude, he's a ranger and all that stuff, Elven Ranger. Myself, the way that I feel that he is, partially in his personality, I think could be. Unfortunately, he's not around anymore. But I think would be a Paul Walker would be a good
Yeah.
match. Like before he was older.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so a buddy of mine, he was like, "Oh, well, you're going for that type. What about this dude? I guess he's from
Josh Hartnett.
yeah, there you go. Is that who that is?
He's like He's the same age as Paul Walker was. He's the same age as Paul Walker would have been now, though.
Oh, gotcha.
You ever watch If you ever watch, or if someone ever tells you about This Is Us, that's him. If you want to see what he looks like now, that's him.
Well, he said something about Arrow. I think he was in the Arrow show or something. So,
well, he was Green Arrow in Smallville.
Oh, that's what it is.
Which was weird because before that he was cast as Aquaman. It was really weird. Aquaman got a 1-episode pilot. It didn't work out, and then they brought him back as Green Arrow in Smallville.
They must have liked him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it. It was actually really good. But go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so that was his suggestion, was this one. I don't hate it. So, yeah, definitely. I'm not familiar enough with the dude, though. And then, so this character is, he is an Arab. He is a cleric, and he's a bit of a badass. And so for him, this was his influence.
I love that dude.
Yeah. That was kind of where we were coming from with him. Yeah, I mean, he's much older now, of course, but just this whole aesthetic was very much Muhammad in the story.
It fit. Damn, I got you. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it looks
dude, you're going completely 2000s on this. That's actually awesome. Go ahead.
If you don't mind. And
please keep going.
So for this one, this is he's a elven prince, and there's two of them. He has a twin. This is the oldest of the twins, but I don't know if you can see the influence. I mean, it's pretty easy to pick out once you see it. You're like, oh. So, boom. So this is him. Because the character, I want to show you. Because the character, he's a he's an effete snob. Like he has kind of racist arrogance about him, right? So yeah, and that was his influence for sure. Like just like the chiseled jaw and whatnot, and how the girls swooned. And then for the girl in the story, there was a couple of them. I like her for just kind of like the heart, because Lorelai is the name of the redhead. She is the love interest of the main character, Drake. And we get to see her and him have a nice scene or two together. And otherwise, I would say she has the eyes, the face, the everything. It really kind of brings out that anime style that Jose has with her just crazy big eyes. And then so for that girl that you were talking about, that dark elf, the Empress, a buddy of mine was like, dude, Rihanna. And apparently they already have a drow that it looks like it was based on Rihanna. So I found that. And then this is okay. I'm sorry, 1 second, my cat.
No problem, dude.
So yeah, like that would be perfect casting. I think Rihanna would be great. Sorry, my cat is mad.
No, dude, that's fine. That's fine. With me starting late and my headphones not working, I'll take a cat meow. That's fine.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess as you can see, I definitely had some thoughts on all that.
At least you have. I know people are usually like, well, hey, I don't want to ask that, or I'm not ready to answer that question, or I'm not sure. But I'm glad at least you have your concept art is based on characters like, oh no, I know exactly what I want to hire or cast if this becomes a major your picture. So I just more so in closing.
I'm sorry. One second.
No, that's fine, dude. Guys, thank you so much for staying with us this evening. Again, Immortal Rising 1 is out here in the Indiegogo streets, guys. Make sure you pick that up. And it's fine. White Bear said cats in the mood. Understandable. All right. So I try to
orange cats, and they talk a lot. I did not know that.
They gotta go. They gotta let you know what's going on. I guess one thing I try to ask, is that everyone's, looking for you to come on for a certain thing when you're on. But I ask, hey, like, what's a topic that you're interested that you don't get to discuss that often, if at all, that you
Well,
would
it's
want to
so
talk
funny
about?
because, like, just our natural conversation gravitated towards homeschooling. It's one of the things that I'm very passionate about, especially in today's society, that other people should know about is homeschooling. I know this doesn't have anything to do with what, but yeah, homeschooling and philosophy are two of my favorite subjects ever. And I highly recommend it for everybody.
All right, dude. I look forward to it. I am
Wait, so
all
what was
about
your
my.
homeschooling? What was your homeschooling experience like? You said
Dude.
till
It
14?
was weird. So like I was homeschooled, did private school, then public school.
Hmm.
So I did all three. So everyone
Yeah.
gives me the reasons for everything. So when you're homeschooled, my mom was a teacher, so it made sense. Like she was a teacher, her mother was a teacher, her sister was a professor. So it made sense. I mean, you wind up getting. You ever saw Smart Guy? Like when it was the late
No,
90s.
doesn't
Okay,
doesn't.
it was your sister. Have you heard of that one?
Yes.
So their little brother was Taj Mowry. He had his own show called
Oh,
Smart Guy.
okay.
Basically, he was 10 years old. But he was in the 10th grade. I'm
Hmm.
not saying I was 10 years old in the 10th grade, but homeschooling puts you further ahead academically than most of your peers because
You can.
you're on your own schedule. And if you can,
Yeah.
like, well, hey, if I can do the math, you keep giving me math problems. So you know a lot out of the gate, but you don't understand certain concepts until you learn from other people or you learn yourself. It's
Hmm.
not so when you go from being homeschooled to even going to private school, it's not kind of like prison, but it's kind of like prison in which you learn the rules from other people or
Right.
someone that tells like, yeah, you're a little off socially a little bit,
Yeah.
but you're
Well,
not
when
you're
was
not
it? When was it that you were homeschooled? What years roughly?
for 19. I think if I started at the age of 4, 1990 to 2000 and 2001 maybe.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
from 1990
So
2001, I
social
think.
media wasn't really a thing.
Nah, not at all. We
Meet
didn't know what that was. No, we went outside and
homeschool
played.
co-op groups wasn't really a thing. I'm
It
assuming.
kind of was. It's just like they were the weirder kids. So even the kids that were in public school would know that you're homeschooled, but you're not the weird kid that only drinks milk.
Oh, right.
Or like I have to go home and ask my mom if I can have a Werther's candy. Like usually the homeschool kids you wound up hanging out with were the weirder kids,
Hmm.
but you could still understand them and you could still kind of hang out with the public school kids. You just knew that you'd have to go to their house at around 3:30 to ask because they had school.
Oh, right.
So I was stuck in the middle. And then when you go to private school, it's different because you meet people that would rather be in public school or are only there because they might have gotten kicked out of private public school,
Really?
or kids that have only been in private school. So you're always you always want to be in the middle. So by the time I got to public school, I really wanted to go to public school anyway because
Sure.
I was like, if you need to know, if I need to know what real life is like, I tell everyone it's weird, but I'm like the most relatable movie to me ever growing up is Little
Mhm.
Mermaid.
Hmm.
Do I see myself in Ariel? Yes, because I'm obviously white and have red hair. Yes, no, but no,
You
it's
love the
like
remake, don't
yeah,
you?
Jesus Christ. My parents, my parents kind of like were King Triton. I'm like, yo, I just want to see what these people are like that don't just sit at home all day, that
Yep.
don't watch Little House on the Prairie and Good Times, do schoolwork for 3.5, 4 hours, and they're done. Don't have
Yeah.
anything to do. So I finally got to go to public school, which was great because by the time I was able to go, they built a school across the street from where I lived. So you
Hmm.
could actually walk to
Wow.
school. So my dad had enough forethought to say, look, he didn't say it, but he kind of said without saying it. He's like, hey, look, you're smart, but not everyone knows who you are. and you might not be the best socially, so you should join the football team. And
Hmm.
I did not even like football. I played basketball and baseball growing up. So by
Hmm.
the time that I got into football, I didn't like it at all. But after the season
Oh.
was over, I loved football.
Hmm.
Now I'm getting everything I can from it. And it turns out that most of the friends that I had in high school, at the beginning, were on the football team. So at
Oh.
least, if nothing else, if someone wanted to pick him, and they're like, no, leave him alone. He's on the football team.
Hmm.
He's smart, but he's on the football team. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
So it did help. I mean, it didn't change the fact that I went to a private school in Oklahoma. I
Okay.
mean, I'm pretty much sure guessing you can get it. You know, their statue is this.
Was it very religious?
Yeah, number one dry school in the country. Yes. Yoda
Wow.
Cannoli. Yeah. So yeah, I went there
What's up,
during that
Cannoli?
time. Yeah, I went there when whatchamacallit. I was there when when they didn't have cable and dress code was enforced. That's what happened. By the time I was interested in football, I had already been in Texas. Like I was
Mhm.
screwed from the get-go, and I can't get rid of it now, okay? I was
Dude,
looking at
Texas
tickets for this
football.
school
I
year.
mean, they make movies about Texas football, you know?
So I tell everyone there are a few movies that when they make them, you're like, no, that's a stereotype, or that's
Yeah,
not really us. I was like, yo, if you watch Friday Night Lights, I swear that is really what it's like.
that's what I've
I'm not
heard.
in
Yeah,
a, it's yeah, that's I mean, movie or TV show, that's pretty accurate for a
yeah.
small town to like a middling city. So
Oh, sure.
but yeah, I mean that was kind of my experience with it. I did all three, and it turns out that regardless of where I was kind of always in the middle.
Hmm.
It helped, but I had to kind of explain myself beforehand. So I mean,
Well,
like I
it's
said,
really, it's kind of
mhm.
interesting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's kind of interesting listening to my daughter, grow up in this way, and she's kind of like she'll be around kids who, oh, I gotta wait till they get out of school or whatever. But a lot of those kids just want to go play video games, or they just want to, like gossip and stuff. I mean, I guess kids will do that and all that stuff, but like she'll get annoyed with how they're just real boring. Like they're not very imaginative. I think it's kind of the stuff
Mhm.
that she's talked about. Maybe it's just the kids that she knows. I mean, there's plenty of imaginative public school kids, but
You,
it's different. Like adults, when we're out doing stuff, like an adult will compliment. They'll say, I've never had a conversation with a child like that. you
well,
know uh, Not even just like because they're smart or whatever. It's just because they're able to hold a conversation,
I so
beyond
I
a ninth
mean,
level, a ninth grade or a
I
ninth 9-year-old ability.
yeah, no, I was like, I think part of it is the fact that if you are at home and it's just you, either your sibling and your parents, you
Yeah.
wind up being your own source of entertainment,
Oh
and
yeah.
you don't want to make it boring for yourself.
Right.
So you wind up going through all these scenarios in your head, and you kind of like act or work them out, whether it be
Hmm.
through like writing, trying to find a movie that represents what you're thinking at the time
Yeah.
or what have you. And so it really does kind of reflect the fact that you're your own entertainment. And so someone like one of my friends called that out. He was like, I can see that you're kind of like latchkey kids whose parents didn't come home to like 6 or 6:30 when they were in grade school or middle school. Oh, dude, you need to meet it, man. If the cat's in the background, the cat's in the background.
Sorry
That's fine.
about
You're not gonna mess it up for me at all, bro. You're fine.
that.
So so I say that if you've got that much time to think for yourself, think to yourself, and you're young, you've got that energy, you're either gonna act it out, draw it out, write it out, whatever. And so after a certain time of doing that, and the fact that you might be around people that are way older than you, it
Yeah.
kind of forces you to actually think to what you think their level would be. But for adults, it comes out to be like, yo, you're not 12. You sound like you're 17, you're 18. I never understood why my parents would have people come up to us and say, your children are so well behaved. Until I
Yeah.
started going out to dinner with my wife and seeing how 7 or 8 year olds will completely go nuts if you don't put an
Yeah.
iPad in
No
front of them
control.
for 30
Yeah.
minutes. Right. So that's kind of what I experienced in that regard of it. But yeah, I think that's part of why people your own age will tell you how your kids are like, wow, they're a lot older than they seem because they're very grounded. not looking for an escape. If they're in it, they're in it, and if they're
Yeah.
not, I'm safe with my parents, my brother or sister, and I'm doing something I like. But when I go out in the
Yeah.
real world, I pay attention because I know that it's something serious or something that's an activity that demands me to pay attention to this particular environment.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. I mean, I definitely the focus and everything. Yeah, for sure.
All right, man.
Well,
That's pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much what I've got. Again, dude, let me know when you do the homeschooling stream. It doesn't matter if it's on my channel, your channel, whomever's. I'll jump on and be all up in
yes.
there. But man, thank you so much for joining me on a Wednesday. I know that I had to reschedule things and I came on late today, but thank you so much for just getting the word out, letting us know about your book.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me on. So like I kind of I'm in like the Iron Age, Comicsgate kind of circles and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And then through probably John A. Douglas is how I
Yeah,
found your channel as well. And I mean, it's great because you guys even know a whole nother spectrum of other, it's great. And that's kind of why I wanted to come on the show and kind of build a relationship with you and
yeah.
AJ as well, is because like you guys also you have such a wide variety that I haven't seen yet for like guests and
Thank
like
you.
just your whole circle and everything. And yeah, I just think that it would be cool if some of us mixed a little bit more. And yeah,
Dude,
that's kind of what I'm
definitely.
pushing for, because
Yeah.
like if it's not us doing it, what are we gonna do? Have Kevin Smith make He-Man again? Like, come on,
Please
dude.
don't. Please don't.
Like,
Please don't. I need an alternative because it's gonna bother me otherwise. I can't do it, man.
yeah, like the corporation entertainment it's done, guys. So we can hate watch it, we can EFAP to the videos and all that other stuff, but like really it's dead and gone. And
Yeah.
instead of giving your money to people who don't like you, look around in the indie scene. Look up, hashtag Iron Age, hashtag Comicsgate, whatever you're into. For the tabletop guys, look up hashtag OSR. Like these are the people who are making the real fantasy culture, not the people in Disney. Okay, so that I
Exactly.
guess like, that's what I have to say.
That's fine. No, dude. If everything goes according to plan and you wind up getting a shot at being at one of the local or the statewide Comic Cons, let us know, dude. Send us an invitation. Go
Yeah,
live. Let us know that you went on it so we can actually bring you back and talk about what it's like being a published comic book writer, having to talk to people, in the comic book scene. I haven't seen that yet. And like I said, when I went to the Houston Comic Con, I didn't have a lot of
yeah.
time because I'm not gonna lie, I was in the hunt for toys. That's my thing. But I've always wondered what it's like on the other side of someone that's technically a vendor for comics
Yeah.
to say, hey, I wanted to get people interested in my comic and how that went. So again, shoot us a DM, email me, let me know what's going on. Like I would love to hear that part of it, man.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yes, I will keep you in my orbit for sure.
All right. Please send us a Twitter update and DM us when the fulfillment is set to go. And
Yeah.
hey man, we'll be on it. We'll be writing, and hopefully we'll be able to do a review of it as well.
Oh yeah, very cool. That sounds
All
great.
right. Cool, man. All right, guys. We are gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for joining us on a Wednesday at 8:30, guys. It is hump day. Please enjoy it. I'm gonna probably do some more drinking to get over how late I was today. But Aaron, thank you so much. Guys, Immortal Rising coming out soon. For
Thank
now,
you.
E.G.O and Immortal Rising out.